to be back in streaming. Okay, so game number 2, at least game number 2 that I've seen, begins. We're going to see Franks and Byzantines 2v2 on Arabia. Let's see. Liereyy and Hart will now be on the left side of the map. We'll see Liereyy in the bottom corner once again. Hart will be off to his left. Those two players will be Franks for Liereyy, Byzantines for the yellow player. Byzantine player in yellow will be across from Yo. Yo is also Byzantines. And Yo is like crammed right up against the back of the map. Kind of a nice, safe feeling when you're crammed up against the back of the map like that. His teammate is also actually relatively close to the back of the map. And that's going to be Paladin playing as Franks. So we might see Paladin, aka Feng Xin, living up to his name. We may see some Paladin this game, I suppose. It is a very sparsely wood-covered map. Of course, it's going to be a very open one. Franks are a civ that, usually you see a drush into some knights, or at least scouts into some knights, or something of this nature. Byzantines, sometimes you just see people go deep into trash. But with two Franks players on the map, I don't know if we're going to see them go deep into, like, skirms. It seems like a bad investment in the future. But who knows? For the moment, 3 vills on wood for Mr. Yo, not thinking about drushing, going to grab his boar. Across from him will be Hart. Hart does have 4 vills on wood early and could drush if he wants to. It's my party, I'll drush if I want to. Liereyy can drush as well, 4 vills on wood. Would not be surprised at all to see Liereyy drush Fast Castle. Lierey's map is, well, not that wallable. Not that wallable at all. But if he wants to try it, he can certainly do so. Blue player will have 3 vills on wood, so we will see the Franks player Paladin probably going into scouts in the feudal age, but we'll see. Why speculate so much? Just enjoy the game. Nice boar lure there from Liereyy. He drops it right under the TC like you're supposed to. And we see a pretty normal start. A couple players grabbing loom relatively early, maybe some long boar lures on the way. At the moment, the only story for me is that Paladin is on 12 vills. He does have loom already. I suppose that's good. That's fine. Spending some time to get a rather early loom. Hart will wall up on his side of the map if he can. His gold on the front is ugly. Secondary gold, stone, all of it in ugly, ugly locations. And oh my gosh. Hart loses a vill, and he loses a vill like a mile from the TC. Not sure what the plan was there, but Hart is going to be playing -1 vill. Hopefully you guys didn't bet too much of your Hive coin on A. This is Voobly, not HD, so walling is easier. Yeah, okay, difficult to wall, never stopped. Bright Light, I haven't been able to watch you in a while. Yeah, I haven't been around too much. I moved to Sweden and I didn't have access to good enough internet to stream for a bit there. So yeah, really surprising to see Hart losing a vill this far away from his TC. He must have looked away. I mean, it happens all the time to everybody. I mean, it's not like he was a few steps away from the TC and the board just kind of mistimed it or something. He was way the heck out here. But yeah, we'll see Hart drop a barracks. We'll see him continue to build a few more vills, I suppose. Is that true? What you doing, Hart? Hart at the moment grabbing loom. Does just now click up to the feudal age. So he'll be -1 vill, but it does look like Hart will land on his feet here in the end. Let's see, the red player, Yo, is going to come somewhat forward with 4 vills to drop a barracks there on the front, and he is looking like he's going to go and tower Hart. What does Mr. Yo know about Hart's base? That is kind of the question. Yo knows about this hill, he knows about these couple of gold piles, and maybe he's going to try to get here and drop a tower. It's a rather bad map. It's a quite bad map here for Hart. So not a bad idea at all from Yo to come forward and maybe drop some towers. We'll see. For now, it's going to be a barracks and archery range. Byzantines are really good for a tower rush because you can pump out skirms to sort of aid your progress. Maybe even a pike or 2 just in case your opponent goes scouts. Late drush here from Hart. Probably not going to get much done, but he's going to try to keep it going as we roll forward. Looks like Paladin will drop a stable. He's up to the feudal age rather early. These are probably going to be... He's probably going to send some scouts out. Food eco is not really booming just yet, but he's chewing up the last couple of deer from that patch and trying to do some walling. Paladin, how much do you have? He's got a little bit of food. He can build some scouts. Fight on the front seems to be going well for Mr. Yo. He did add in archers and not those trash skirms that I thought he might. Early Vil loss is really bad. Yeah, it's true. Really hard to recover from losing a Vil early to a boar like that. Hart here also has a terrible map. It's kind of like bad meets evil. At the moment, Hart is he's holding his own. He's just trying to slow down this forward roll, trying to wall himself up and protect himself as best he can. Looks like a tower will come up on this wood line. This is a crappy wood line, but, you know, any port in a storm. Looks like both players will drop a tower. The problem is Hart started building a little bit later. He'll get a couple Vils involved. He'll also get his skirms involved to push... I was hoping you'd get his skirms involved to slow down the building of this tower. Nonetheless, we will see a bit of a stalemate there just for a moment. Yo is on stone, question mark? Mr. Yo back at home is... Yo is not on stone. So Yo's tower push here is not going to be a long-lasting thing. He's going to come forward, drop the tower, walk back, build an archery range. One tower build at the moment. Green player Liereyy did go into men-at-arms eventually. He will have men-at-arms and a spear there. It's a pretty formidable challenge if you have just scouts. Those units will idle the 4 Vils here on the berries, and then they'll probably idle 5 more Vils on this wood line. Maybe getting a kill. They're rather slow units, so probably not. But doing a really nice job to keep his opponent busy. Spearman turns around and is able to kill one of the scouts before going down. Men-at-arms, though, are kind of getting surrounded. They're getting the old ground and pound here, and it doesn't look like they're going to get much more done. They are going to get cleaned up, but really nice eco damage. Paladin with 7 idols at the moment. Actually, not 10 idols. 4 of them are fighting a man-at-arms. 3 Vils over here. Really nice man-at-arms rush from Liereyy. In the meantime, back at home, Liereyy is doing what? He's just doing some walling. Liereyy is just walling up and trying to boom up a bit. Maybe thinking about going to castle soon? Yeah, relatively soon. Anyway, Yo's army has turned to the trashy side. We've got skirmishers from Yo. We've got skirmishers from Hart. No huge surprise there. Yo's tower is in trouble, but, you know, he's done some damage to the eco of his opponent. And we're going to roll into the next stage of the game. Cheap counter. Would love to see Axeman, though. Throwing Axeman would be great. Interesting. Franks, Knights, Byzantines, Pikes, and Halbs. Yeah, that's true. It is an interesting matchup. The difficulty in a team game is that Knights can cover so much ground so quickly that it's hard to counter them with trash. You kind of have to honeypot them into fighting you, right? So we do have to see these players do some maneuvering. For instance, you know, those Knights would roam into this area, and if they see a bunch of pikes, they're just going to go hit your teammate. Kind of makes it difficult to chase. Anyway, for the moment, it is skirm on skirm action. Neither player with any upgrades for now. Wheelbarrow coming in for a couple folks. Blue player Paladin has walled himself in with Palisades this game. Hurt a little bit early on, but by no means beaten up. He's in much better shape than he was last game. Fletching on the way for Hart. That will give his skirmishers the advantage here, and it is going to be double range skirms for both of the Byzantines players. Frank's player Liereyy in green, adding in a stable, and I think he's just going to click to castle as soon as he can. I don't expect any scouts at this point in the game. Paladin's roaming forward with some scouts. Lierey's got a spearman waiting. He's mostly built his base in a defensive way, and I think he's good. This Vil, a little bit out there, but other than that, he should be fine. So Yo went aggressive. I don't think he really did the damage that he wanted to. He and Hart standing toe-to-toe. Pretty equal game, I would say, at the moment on that side of the map. I would say that Liereyy is probably doing better than Paladin is. He's clicking up to castle, and he did some eco damage, but by no means is this game over. It's going to be double stable Knights from Liereyy. No big surprise there. Let's see. So the Franks are the ones walling. The Franks are the ones walling up at the moment. Is that true? We've got one Franks player here in blue. Yeah, both Franks players walling up. Trying to get their boom on. Trying to get out there and get some Knights in the castle age. Neither of those players going deep into military.
Yes.
Alrighty then. We've got skirmisher on skirmisher action here. Not really the most exciting fight in the world. Group of skirms this big can kill Vils eventually if they have +1. They do. They can eventually kill a Vil, but it's going to be a slow grind. We did see Hart there trying to grab some stone, probably just to get some TCs up. Just trying to replenish the stone that he had to spend on that tower. Paladin at the moment is roaming around in the back of Hart's eco here. He does not have that much of an opportunity to do damage. 2 spearmen are nearby, and yeah, I don't think it's going to work out. It is 2v1 on this side, but it does actually look like the yellow player here is in really good shape to defend this. Little more house walling, more skirmishers coming from those Byzantines players. God, man, so many skirmishers. Like a billion little kids with wiffle ball bats. Eventually, they will kill you. TC coming down right away. Double stable knights for Liereyy. It's a 3 TC build, so he's not going to be able to keep those 2 stables going all the time. At least not usually. It doesn't usually seem to work out mathematically. But at least for now, he can maybe build 6 knights, 8 knights, get them out on the map, get across the map, and maybe find Mr. Yo here with his pants down. That's really what you're looking for, right? Getting a couple of +2 defense knights into this group of skirmishers, like 6 of them. Oh god, that would be amazing. Let's see. Green player for the moment is going to head toward... maybe he's just going to head toward Yo's base. Keep an eye on those knights as we move forward. Anyway, Castle Age did come in for the blue player. He's going to add in a monastery. He's got double stables. He's got a 2nd TC for now and probably a 3rd and not too terribly long from now. Yo still with a ton of skirms there in the middle. Yeah, Hart's teammate is Xing those skirmishers saying, hey man, come over here and kill these. Extra 20 HP because of Franks when you get into the Castle Age, right? On the Knights and +2 defense, these units should be really, really well equipped to take on this army, especially if Hart can time it right. Hart pushing from one side, those Knights pushing from the other. That would be a really, really bad situation from Yo. And that's eventually what we're going to see here. I think more than 3 Knights is necessary, but let's see. Lierey's the pro, not me, and we are going to see that kind of pincer move. Yo's going to take the fight near his towers. That will at least give him a little bit more ability to do some damage here. But the skirms are tanking a lot of arrow fire, and the Knights are chopping through Yo's units pretty quick. This is how you're supposed to play a team game, guys. You're supposed to use your teammate to basically counter whenever they can. Knights are really a great counter in this situation. They're going to clean up relatively this entire army before Paladin gets across the map. Paladin's first couple knights are +1/+1, but there's just not enough of them to get the job done. And Yo's forward is cooked, along with basically 20 skirmishers there. Really nice fight from Liereyy and Hart. Not surprising. I mean, I don't know if I talked about it at the beginning of this game, but I should have. If you go deep into skirmishers, and there's a Franks player on the other team, you gotta keep an eye on him. And it does look like, unfortunately, Yo gets caught out there in the middle of no man's land. His teammate Paladin, if he was just a little quicker, would have been able to bolster that army. But hey, that is the way it goes. That is the news. Looking pretty good for Liereyy and Hart here early in the Castle Age. Does look like Paladin might have a few more knights in that area. Paladin at the moment on 19 military. He's actually got more units than Liereyy. He went with just 2 TCs, so Paladin foregoing building up a true boom eco to get a few more knights out. I think it's a really smart move because his teammate did just lose everything. Liereyy with only a few knights really on the field. There's only like 5 knights in this whole area. And it does look like we are going to see a fight here. Looks like Paladin will turn around. He'll fight a couple of spearmen. He will take them down pretty quick. It's kind of a clusterfuck of a battle. 3 different players in the same spot. But I don't really love this fight from the blue player. He's invested a lot in this army, and he's going to turn around and fight in the middle of the eco here and probably lose a lot of his units. Skirmisher is throwing those those little kid wiffle ball bat missiles at people. This army from Paladin will get chased out. Did not accomplish very much. Green player has a couple of knights that he's carved off to hit Yo's eco. Remember, Yo's military buildings are all here on the map. None of them are back at home to protect himself. And that's going to allow, basically, Liereyy here to come in with free reign and start beating up on some villagers. Liereyy is chasing the blue player across the map with what looks to me like a smaller army. does look like the army here from Paladin is bigger, but he's headed home to regroup. Going to add in a couple more knights back at home, maybe a few monks here and there. All right, let's go around the horn and see if anybody is saving any resource at all. Yo's got quite a bit of food in the bank. Hart's got quite a bit of food in the bank. Not going to see Imperial Age for a little while from either player. Hart will add in a second TC. That will be his second for now. Is there a third coming as well? It looks like it's just going to be a 2 TC build for the moment for the yellow player, who's held his ground. I do think that that went pretty well for him. Yo invested a lot of time and energy into making this push on the front, and it didn't really do what it wanted to do, right? It didn't really cripple the eco. Yo is definitely still in this game, but he's getting 2v1 right now. He's losing villagers left and right, and it's going to be an uphill battle here for the red player. Paladin carving off some knights, but man, you don't want to be defensive all game, right? You got to get out there on the offense in order to win. Right now, it is a very defensive struggle for these two fellas. Liereyy and Hart seem to be in good shape. Liereyy is still pumping out knights like a madman. He's got a great eco too. He's had a chance to build 74 vills. He's got 22 military, and almost all of those are knights right now. Well upgraded knights headed toward Mr. Yo. And yeah, they're going to get a couple free kills here. 3v1 because of the wolves. Yes, indeed. Yo should have thrown a few pikes as a Byzantine. Yeah, that would have been nice. But yeah, like we were saying last game, it's easy to, like, you know, when we can see it all happening, right? Yeah, Yo was trying to outproduce Hart on that side of the map. And they were standing toe-to-toe. Both players building tons of skirms. Actually, Hart here has not gone to Elite, which is interesting. I guess he's only got, what is that, a dozen? But both players were cranking out skirms at max speed. It just happened that Liereyy was a little faster than Paladin. Got a lot of free kills. For the moment, the two Franks players are pumping out knights like madmen. 28 and 26 military for those players, respectively. It is pretty much a dead heat right now. Neither player really wanting to take this fight. They're just kind of dancing around each other. Dancing around on those beautiful horses. We'll see Hart come in with his army, not really equipped to take on knights. But at least he and his teammate together can do more damage than they can do separately. Oh, no, though. Hart is going to get caught out in the middle of no man's land. Liereyy went home. I don't really know why. But he basically left his teammate as cannon fodder. This is a bummer. That advantage that Liereyy and Hart had really kind of got equalized there. Yo coming forward with a couple of crossbows. He's been a little quiet for a minute. Yo is just trying to get down some TCs to protect his what is really a terrible map. University coming from Yo so we can get ballistics, but man, the wood on this map just absolutely sucks for Mr. Yo. Alright, Paladin and Yo will be the ones coming forward now. The green player has gone all the way home with his knights. I guess he wanted to bring in a few monks and maybe heal up a bit. I don't know. He went home. There's no threat here. He just turned his army around and went home. And man, his teammate got caught out in the middle of nowhere. And now Hart is getting kind of more caught out. Crossbowmen standing right under the opposing TC, but they're grabbing enough kills to make it worth it. Knights from the blue player from Paladin here are going to be rather beefy. +2/+2. Crossbowmen are also +2/+2. And unfortunately, those crossbows are really getting chewed up cheap. They're getting hit by TC arrow fire. All in all, a pretty good fight, but I like the fact that Yo and Paladin are going to get out of dodge here. Got to reposition these armies. Hart adding in quite a few more crossbows of his own. +2/+1 for now. And we're going to see two teammates working together. Crossbows and knights versus crossbows and knights. At a glance, I would say the military numbers are really, really similar. So positioning is going to probably be paramount to this fight. Getting this hill, if you're the yellow player, would be really nice. But yeah, at least for now, the micro is not going to allow it to happen. More paladins coming over from Paladin. More knights coming over from Paladin. Liereyy has slowed down military production a bit, I would say, to build his way up to the Imperial Age and to get onto 107 vills. So right now, Liereyy and Hart have about 5 minutes of game time that they need to survive. They really don't want the fight just yet, right? You want this fight when you're in the Imperial Age and you're teching up to Cavalier. They don't really want this fight. It looks like they have similar numbers still to Paladin and his teammate Yo. Paladin running in here by himself, taking a little bit of damage. But I don't think we're going to see a big fight just yet. I don't think either team really wants to commit to a true battle. Mr. Yo here is out in no man's land with his crossbows, but it's not going to matter too much. A couple paladins going down from the blue player. That hill would be nice for a castle. Yeah, I think I know which hill you meant. Where are we? Here? Are we here? That would be a great castle hill, wouldn't it? Both teams working their way up to Imperial Age. We've got 1, 2, 3 players who have clicked and who has not. Looks like Liereyy clicked. Hart, Paladin. Where's Yo? Yo has not clicked yet. Is that true? Mr. Yo at the moment just a wee bit of food away, and he will just click up as his opponent gets to Imp. Castle drop coming from Paladin. He's going to get aggressive here. He needs to hold his opponent off for a couple minutes, and this castle drop will probably do it. Liereyy will go Cavalier. He's going to be running those Cavalier into a couple of monks, a castle, and quite a few knights. This is a decent setup for Paladin, who's running into the eco as we speak. That eco, though, is not actually open. There's plenty of walls keeping his knights from actually getting in. Monks will grab 1, 2, maybe 3. They might have gotten 3 or 4 conversions there. But the news here is the castle is denied. The monks are dead, and those conversions came before Cavalier. So, Liereyy able to hold off his opponent for a bit. The knights from the blue player ran through the front of this area, but didn't get in. Bit of a bummer for Paladin there. He had an opportunity to either defend his castle and make sure it got up, or go raid the eco, and unfortunately, the castle didn't go up, and he didn't get to raid the eco. That's really a twofer. Stone walls coming up on the front here. Liereyy trying to take stone. Clandestine lumber camp. Don't see that so often this early on in a match, but that is the case as we speak. Crossbowmen are going to Arbalest for Hart at the moment. Liereyy is going to Paladin. Paladin, Feng Xin here, we'll call him Feng for the rest of the game, I guess, is going to Cavalier. So Cavalier is on the way for the blue player. He's trying to hold the line with a defensive castle. He is hemorrhaging vills at the moment, but I think he will be able to right the ship, maybe. Couple of knights getting in to take down a few vills from Liereyy. Blue player coming forward. Oh boy, what is the plan? The plan is a TC. Plan is a TC over by Mr. Yo. All right, I haven't been paying much attention to what's going on between Hart and Yo. We've got Yo just hitting Imperial Age. We've got Hart significantly out-teching Yo, but Arbalest, Bracer, and Chemistry coming for the red player as we speak. Cavalier inside the eco of Hart are doing some good damage. Hart turns around his arbs. He's doing a nice job to quick wall up a bit here. I know he didn't finish this wall, but the fact that only one knight can go through at a time is a big deal. That's giving these Arbalests a chance to do a lot more damage. They're not going to kill all these knights, but the fact that these knights can't get to them really quickly is actually a huge difference maker. I think we're going to see an extra 5 or 6 knights die just because of that. I should say Cavalier. Cavalier are getting sniped down. Looks like the yellow player's doing a good job to click on the lower HP units. Gonna slowly but surely clean a few of those up. By no means is that a great fight for the yellow player, but made the best out of a bad situation. His teammate who has gone to Paladin is going to head over with his entire army to help a brother out. The gate is not wedged open, but there is a hole in this side of the wall. More Arbalests coming from Yo. Blue player Paladin is in. He's going to have Paladin soon. Man, that is a tongue twister. And we'll see what they can get done. Green player here, though, is going to come in from behind. He is already teched to Paladin. He would do really well if he can catch these Arbs out. And I think he's going to be... not quite. Is he going to be able to catch him out? Paladin and Yo playing somewhat well together here as a team. See if these Paladins from the blue player turn around and fight, or if they are just in full retreat. Liereyy coming in with massively overwhelming numbers. Yo basically shoving his military into a corner there, and that is going to really dissuade the green player from taking that fight. Yo and Paladin here are maneuvering really nicely. Maneuvering very nicely to keep this game going. Liereyy is, he's got quite a few units. He was the first one to imp, but he's been a little quiet. He's still pumping out knights. I don't see a whole lot of diversity in his army. And this castle from Paladin could go back up later in the game. Green Paladin headed toward Mr. Yo's base. A couple of Paladin from the blue player going into Heart's base. A little bit of raiding going on at this point. Castle construction without protection. That's right, you have to protect. Looks like Hart and Liereyy will win. Yo and Paladin making a lot of wrong decisions. Yeah, I know you said that a few minutes ago, but it's looking okay. I mean, Liereyy here is going to do some serious raiding. Yo's base is so poorly generated. He just got a little bit unlucky. Everything is just so spread out. Anyway, all these vills are going to go down. Yo's going to lose his entire gold economy. These Paladins are doing a hell of a lot of damage. Paladin is clicking on Mr. Yo's base. Maybe he's talking to him about a team wall. I don't know if it's going to matter. Blue player's got Paladins spread all over the map, but he isn't really doing as much damage as Liereyy is. Liereyy has knocked Mr. Yo down to 68 vills with 50 idols. Yo right now effectively has no economy at all. Liereyy making a really nice decision here and idling nearly every single villager in this eco. Yeah, we do see blue Paladin here and there. We do see them annoying and trying to do some damage, but Liereyy and Hart look relatively unbothered. Ooh, a couple of idle ones in the back here. Liereyy and Hart looking relatively unbothered, both of them approaching, well, one of them above the 100 vil mark, one of them approaching it very quickly. Arbalest having to turn around from Mr. Yo to clean up all of this crap inside of his eco. But it might be too little too late. Still, 41 idle vills out of 67 total villagers. Yo is in a whole heap of trouble as the post-Imperial battle goes forward. Hey, what do you know? 2 games in a row, post-Imperial battles. And so far, first game was won by Liereyy and Hart. Second game is looking like they are in a good position to win again. Okay, a couple blue Paladin roaming toward Liereyy. Liereyy here has enough of his own Paladins to defend this. Should be just fine. And we wait for these players to maybe start running out of gold. Let's see. Liereyy with 200 gold in the bank. Paladin with 200 gold in the bank. It's eventually going to dwindle. We're going to need to see some markets. Nice team wall for Liereyy and Hart. Should help them a lot. Reinforcer's advantage is going to help Liereyy probably win the day and chase the blue player back. Blue castle up on that hill is annoying, but it's not really... It's a great launching point. Don't get me wrong, but it's not... Maybe not enough to get this team back in the game. Yo at the moment on 72 vills. Once again, getting raided by a few Paladin here and there from the green player. Arbalest v Arbalest in the middle. Hart here should have an opportunity to really beat up on Yo. You know, Liereyy went over to Yo and he dealt some serious body blows to Yo's eco. That should have given Hart a chance to boom up his economy, 105 vills, and start to crank out a lot of arbs. Maybe some siege to go with it. We'll see. At the moment, Yo's still winning militarily over Hart, at least as far as numbers go. Liereyy is kind of out in no man's land, just chasing around Paladins. No barracks for Halb production? I don't see barracks right now. It's a really good point. I mean, Byzantine trash is, you know, it's stuff of legends. But at the moment, we're not seeing very many barracks. I just see 1 barracks from Hart. Yo on his side of the map is also not really building very much as far as barracks go. Building up markets, but doesn't have a whole lot to defend his eco from more raiding. So we've got a game on our hands. At the moment, Liereyy and Hart are actually behind in the score. Yo and Paladin out ahead. Couple of Paladin inside the eco here, keeping Hart's arbs busy. Yo has a bunch of arbalests on the front, but they are just kind of idling for now. And there's those halberdier. Mr. Yo adding in 1, 2, 3. Oh boy, Yo's got a whole bank of barracks here. I think Yo here is like you said in the chat, making a really nice tactical decision. He's going to 6 barracks. He's got 4 siege workshops. He's got a ton of arbs. He's got siege ram. He's actually in a really good position to make a push on the yellow player. Castle coming up on that hill that we expected it on, and here's the bank of barracks just now coming down for the yellow player Hart. So it's going to be arbs and halbs for both Byzantine players at this point in the game. Eventually, looks like we are going to see some pikes coming from the Frank player. Eventually, the Paladin spam is going to slow down. At the moment, Mr. Yo has the largest army by quite a lot. His teammate Paladin, though, does have quite a few units on the field. Green player is headed toward his teammate. They are thinking maybe about trying to avoid getting 2v1'd. Couple of vills getting chewed up here for cheap. Doesn't matter so much in the Imperial Age, but it will delay this castle for a little bit longer. Green player is on the front, but Yo has a pretty nice number of halbs here. Not enough to win this fight, but enough to keep these arbs safe. Yo kind of got, I won't say fooled, because it's not like he didn't see it coming, but let's just say he got fooled by building a ton of skirms early on. Those all got chewed up for free. This time, he's not going to get fooled again. He's going to have halbs ready, and these Paladin will not be running in on his arbs. Not on my watch. Mr. Yo going with a castle, siege workshops coming on the front, his teammate Paladin coming over, and we've got two large post-Imperial armies about to clash. It is really all about unit control right now. Unit control is really important. Composition here, I think, favors Yo and Paladin. They're on the offensive. They've got tons of units here to dissuade those Paladins. But the control of these armies and picking the right fight at the right time is obviously critically important as well. Paladin doing a nice job here to stay with Yo. He can't let these Paladin roll in on Yo's arbs. Yo's got to protect himself with halbs, and he's got to have his teammate help him out with these Paladins here. And we are seeing the SY team start to really roll forward on the offensive. And they've taken the score lead, not by a lot, but I think they deserve it. They just have to maneuver these armies in maybe just the right way. Can't take a bad fight at this point in the game. Paladins both meet shielding for both sides, similar numbers of Arbalest for each team. More Paladin coming in from behind. Oh no, those are reinforcements. Reinforcements coming in for the green player. Halb's getting chewed up for cheap, but they are getting some good shots in on these Paladin. At the moment, the green player's roaming forward. He has reached Yo's army. Paladin in blue here will have to turn around and take this fight. Really tough one to watch. Maybe we should all G this. We've got Arbs and Paladins here from the Liereyy and Hart team. They are probably going to win the day. They've reached a critical mass, I suppose. Unfortunately, the halbs from Yo kind of got lured into that fight too early. They got chewed up quickly by the Arbalest here. And in the end, it will be Yo and Paladin retreating away from a fight that I thought they had really nicely handled. Interesting game here. Hart and Liereyy certainly back alive. The scores don't suggest that they're winning, but I suggest that they definitely turned the momentum around a bit there. Blue's pushing below. Yeah, we've got a castle drop. We've got a couple siege workshops. The push hasn't really begun. The castle is not really taking away much, but it is here and it is real. It is map control. Green players sending in Pikmin, if you will. Those pikes heading straight into the eco here of Paladin, grabbing a couple vills. Unfortunately, Paladin will have to turn around his entire, well, not his entire army, but a big group of his army to deal with what is really just a couple of trash units. On the front, it does look like Liereyy and Hart have reinforced enough to hold the line. Blue player here is going to try to run through the eco. No, he's going to run back out. It's great to watch pro players play. They wait and wait and wait for the right fight, and they do the math in their head, and it sometimes just comes down to whose calculation is better. Yo's going deep into trash with elite skirmishers here. Plenty of halbs as well. A couple Arbalest. Very diverse army. Camping out under his castle for now. Paladin's got quite a few units, but they're kind of blocked from this battle. If this fight goes down right now, yeah, there was a second there where Liereyy probably could have done... Hey, Lierey's going to do a bit of damage here. Lierey's going to do a bit of damage before Paladin gets into the fray. These two guys, Yo and Paladin, kind of need this to work. If they get pushed back here, they're in a bit of trouble. About 120 vills for every player in the match. We've certainly got a game on our hands. Bombard Towers coming up in the back for the red player here. Going to try to reinforce this position. His castle lobbing in arrow fire, doing quite a bit of good damage, but there is a Treb now in play from Hart. Hart putting some pressure on. We'll see if he can knock this castle down. Bombard Tower from the hill, lobbing in cannon shots to take on these Paladin from the green player. It does look like Liereyy and Hart are in a really good spot to win this side of the map. Yo's still spamming forward trash. His castle is still laying down damage directly onto this group of Arbalest. but I don't think it's really working on that side. Meanwhile, though, as I look on one side, the other side turns into a real serious push. A couple of Rams sneaking in, able to knock down the walls. Paladin here needs to get his knights busy and start chewing down vills. Green player is in some trouble, man. Halbs and a couple of throwing axemen. Booyah, baby. Headed in toward his eco. Nice push from the blue player here. He and Yo must have kind of identified that they couldn't win this top side. Blue player went all in, balls deep, into basically raiding Lierey's base. Liereyy now is in some trouble. Looks like he is going to be idling a lot of his eco, losing quite a bit of his... what do we got? We got a defensive castle here. Losing quite a bit of his trade as we speak. Those blue paladin are pushing in, and this is a really, really big patch of blue. We got halbs, we got axemen, we got rams, we got everything you want. Liereyy at the moment is on the back foot for sure. Blue castle coming up on the top. Got to give Paladin some real credit here. His castle positioning has been really on the spot. This castle's really nice. This castle's really nice. Aiding his push, and he's going to start pushing in. I kind of got lulled by Paladin's position. I kind of thought that his whole army's up here on the top of the map. He's not going to make a big push on Liereyy. Maybe Liereyy got lulled into that as well. Right as I kind of stopped thinking about how much damage could be done to Liereyy, right as I stopped, Paladin coming in with a massive army. Gonna get his rams busy, gonna try to knock down this castle if he can. Green player turning around to spam as many halbs as he can to try to push this away. Heart's gonna add a couple of halbs into the mix to try to deal with this. But at the moment, yeah, you know, Liereyy actually has 0 idols. Liereyy will lose maybe this castle, maybe a TC, but this is not the end of the game. I don't think this is the end. There's enough halbs spamming in here that the Paladin should probably try to knock this castle down and leave. This is not the greatest fight for the blue player. He's basically taking on his direct counter, the Halberdier. He does have a hill bonus here, but he's losing a lot of really expensive units, and we are way too late in the game to just give those away. 1 or 2 ram hits away from killing this castle. That is absolutely devastating for Paladin. He really wanted to knock that castle down, man, and I wanted to see it happen. But Liereyy able to somehow beat him back. Man, oh man, we've got a game that is 1 hour of game time deep, and the score differential is 500 points. That is absolutely ridiculous. We got a barn burner on our hands. Liereyy and Hart are losing gold units. Yeah, there's definitely... Yeah, sorry, I need to keep up with the chat better. Absolutely, a few minutes ago, that is a very good observation. Siege Rams on the front here for Hart. Gonna get pushed back for now. And what do we have going on, man? We've got Yo taking wood right in front of his opponent's base. Mr. Yo has neglected this wood line for now. But he and his teammate are trading pretty nicely. I don't see any disturbance in that trade. Yellow player Liereyy does have quite a bit of trade established as well. Liereyy at the moment, Liereyy and Yo with the higher number of total villagers, but everybody's got massive economies at this point in the game. The differences are going to be tactical ones. This hill, for instance, for Paladin is a really nice hill. Problem is he doesn't have the units to keep that castle alive. Rams coming forward from Liereyy are going to get this castle down for pretty cheap. Barracks coming in, the halb spam is coming forward, but I don't know if it's going to be fast enough. Blue player pushing back a lot of the units of Liereyy, but Paladin here is just not quite going to be fast enough. He's not going to be fast enough to save his castle. Score difference, 300 points, 250 points at 1 hour and 5 minutes. I love it. This game is really anybody's to win. We're going to see more bombard towers from Yo. If he can get them down, he will be coming forward with those. Siege Rams doing some work here, but it does look like villagers will eventually rush them down. Man, this is one hell of a game. Push on this top side has fizzled out. It's pretty much a stalemate in my eyes. The push from Paladin was really nice. He did some damage, but he didn't do that much damage. Lierey's turning around to counterpunch here. He's going to take some free buildings on the front, roll forward with Rams, and we'll see it fight on this side. Blue player with the bigger hill will have maybe a bit of an advantage as he is defending that hill. He's also got elite throwing axemen. Doesn't have a ton of them, but he's got 10 or 12 here on the front. He's adding in more, or he was adding in more a moment ago. Those will do great to deal with all this trash. We will see. Holding this hill is paramount now for Paladin. The Rams are dancing, man. The Rams are feeling it. They're enjoying this game. Getting freaky. Halb's coming from the blue player to try to reinforce. Not any more throwing axes for the moment. Paladin not with a whole lot of gold. If we look around the horn, we can see that Yo is floating some resources. Hart is pretty much strapping for cash, and so is Liereyy. So Yo is probably saved up the most for the late game. But we'll see if there will be a later game. Right now, the push is looking pretty real. Green player coming forward. Couple of Arbalests here as well from Hart. Trying to keep this Treb up. One Paladin gets into the mix. And that one Paladin is going to kill this Treb. That Paladin didn't even take damage while he killed an entire Treb by himself. Bombard Tower's coming up on the hill for Yo. Very nice addition. Good use of his stone there, and he will help his teammate hold the line. Trade is still totally safe between Yo and Paladin, but trade between Liereyy and Hart is also incredibly safe. You can see the red and blue player here control more of the map. Usually that means that you have an advantage in the late game because players start to run out of wood. I mean, there's probably no stone or gold left on this map, but eventually the wood lines really start to dwindle. You can see this area of the map that was once a wood line. Most of these are gone. Only really the wood lines that are defending, that are part of the walls, are really left intact. So wood is starting to dwindle. We'll have to keep an eye on that as the game moves forward. Still a hot and heavy fight for this hill. Looks like for now it is a stalemate. Liereyy able to add in more Paladin because of his trade, as is Paladin, as is Feng. Feng here adding in more units as well. And the battle for that hill rages on. In the meantime, the red player on top of the map adding in more and more elite skirms. Couple of those Byzantine cataphracts coming through. Actually, elite cataphract from Hart. Really nice decision against such a large group of trash. The only problem is there are a few blue Paladin in the vicinity. Is Yo going for cataphracts? Man, you are early. You're on the jump, Maverick. Yo isn't, that I know of, but his opponent is. You are ready on the spot with cataphracts. Cataphracts are really nice. They do a lot of damage to groups of trash units like this. So it's a really nice choice. The problem is Paladin, the blue player, has carved off enough of his own units to keep those cataphracts busy for the moment. For the moment, Mr. Yo is rolling in with siege rams up the wazoo. He's going to try to make a push here. He's got a ton of trash. Needs to get this trash closer to the point of the battle, I think. But it's bombard towers everywhere. And he's just trying to honeypot these cataphracts into a really bad position. Even a unit like this, that is relatively arrow resistant, is going to get chewed up if they're standing under bombard towers with like 30 skirmishers waiting around. The hill fight continues. I don't really know who's winning this side. Green player seems to have more units in this vicinity, but he's by no means in a position to climb this hill anytime soon. That hill for Paladin has been, man, it's been a great, great hill. Great castle position. Maybe a game-winning castle position for the blue player there. Halberdier coming in, elite skirms coming forward, and we will continue to see this one roll on. Hey, AoE fan, welcome, man. I haven't seen you in a while. I shouldn't say that. I saw you not that long ago. Good to see your name in the chat. 4 siege rams still alive on the front. Still a bit of a honeypot here from Yo, who's adding in more and more bombard towers. Yo will add in... it actually looks like Hart will add in a couple siege rams on the bottom. Hart's got elite cataphracts. He's going to first respect the amount of rams here and knock those down. In the meantime, Mr. Yo will roll back and regroup. Mr. Yo is going to be fighting under these bombard towers. And look at how fast these cataphracts are dropping. Yo is in a really nice spot. He's spending really only wood and food, which are somewhat plentiful, to take down gold units from Hart. Quick look around the board. Let's see. Liereyy has quite a bit of resource in the bank. Paladin is actually floating a ton of food and gold. Yo's floating a bunch of food and wood. He's got a little gold in the bank. Hart at the moment is, I think he might have just, got some tribute from Liereyy. Hart getting some tribute from Liereyy to build more cataphracts for the late game. Liereyy, for the moment, is getting pushed back. Liereyy had this hill for a little while, but the bombard creep from Yo continues. Still a ton of map control from the red and blue players. They really do own this map right now. Liereyy and Hart have to find a way to get out of their own bases. One way to do that is to come forward and take on one side together. Looks like they will be 2v1 on this side. Paladins from Liereyy and skirmishers from Hart. Problem is, man, these bombard towers are no joke. Like, they're going to put down some damage on these paladin. There's a lot of gold invested, and they're going down for relatively cheap. For now, though, siege rams continuing to roll forward, continuing to knock these towers down. Yo having to back up a bit, adding in a bunch of stables. Mr. Yo here, in the late game, is going to start adding in some cavalry, I would think. Light cav on the way. So for the moment, Yo needs to tech a little bit into cavalry. You can see heavy camel, light cav, and plate barding armor all coming in. And he'll be ready to take on cataphracts from Hart in a couple of minutes. For now, the trash is going to have to hold the line. Trash and towers are holding the line. Look at these siege rams holding up against that cannon fire. Got to make sure you're shooting the cataphracts, I suppose, in this situation. Camels being added in by the red player. The blue player on the bottom here, Paladin, making a bit of a push on Liereyy. Liereyy carves some units off to help his teammate out. Yo continuing to just build up those bombard towers like a madman. Just using those units to take over map control. Mr. Yo, for now, rushing down these rams with his last couple of hills, is helping his teammate on this push, throwing axemen on the hill. More and more units coming from the blue player as we speak. Liereyy is going to turn around and fight this, and he'll probably be able to hold the line for a while. But it's a nice push on that side. Again, you know, Yo and Paladin own this map. They have much more map control. It is really paramount for Liereyy or Hart to start winning one side or the other. At the moment, blue player has Paladin that are roaming around here trying to help Mr. Yo hold this line. It's still a bunch of bombard towers up on the hill. And we will, for now, see what is effectively a win for Yo and Paladin. Hart and Liereyy pushed out a bit. They took over maybe this much territory. They lost a bunch of units, and now they'll have to go back. It's feeling like World War I all of a sudden. So much blood for just a couple of inches of map, and then having to turn around and retreat. Hart's got some rams out here in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how they got there, but I don't think it's going to matter. They're not going to get much done. Liereyy has pushed back Paladin for now. The blue player is kind of clinging to this area. He's going to try to fight under this tower to see if he can keep himself going. But Liereyy effectively has protected himself. Right? You can't let that army get into your main eco. If it gets into all your farms and all of your trade, it's going to be GG. By no means is this game over, but man, Liereyy and Hart are really in a tough position. They just cannot seem to get out of their own base. I think Yo is maybe doing the best job of any player here by just keeping tons of trash on the map. I know, building trash is really easy, but you know, Yo is somehow doing a really good job at producing. At the moment, 76 military. You know, Hart is also Byzantines. He's only got 60 units. He's gone deeper into gold units, like cataphracts. But for now, that hasn't been decisive. Paladin in blue has done a nice, really nice job to keep these cataphracts from being able to run roughshod on all this trash. Yo and Paladin are playing a fantastic team game. This mix of units here on the top side of the map is brilliant. That's the only word I have for it. This is a really nice setup. They've got a really nice setup going there, and this side of the map is just Paladin keeping Liereyy honest. He's just saying, like, I'm still here, don't forget about me, keep fighting me on this side, keep spending money, and in the meantime, my teammate and I are going to kill your teammate. And I really do think this is a great position for Yo and Paladin. New Civ, I think the Indians and Incas. I find Byzantines have the most flexible, to be honest. Yeah, Byzantines are really nice. They're a nice Civ. I have no problem when I play a random generated Civ and it's Byzantines. No problems at all. Yo adding in some bombard cannons here just to show that he's going to use every unit at his disposal. Going to start taking down this castle. It has so many skirms here. It would be nice to have a few more halps and a couple heavy camels as well. Bombard towers from Yo still taking over territory again. We've got that World War I scenario where so much blood is being spilled to gain just a few inches. But in this case, I think Yo's doing it in a really cost-effective way. This is all trash from Yo. Paladin's got a few paladins here, but he's being really cautious with them. Conservative with them, if you will. Looks like Liereyy and Hart are... Oh, man. Look at the halbs coming out from Paladin. Perfect timing. Able to take on all of these. Paladin from the green player Liereyy. He's going to chew through a lot of units here. Yeah, I mean, the throwing axes are doing great damage. The blue player here is not going to win this hill, but he's going to kill so many gold units. Man, Lierey's army numbers they're still high, but he probably just lost a good 10 Paladin for effectively nothing, trading it for trash. Castle from Hart here is probably going down eventually. These bombard cannons are beautifully positioned under a bombard tower, surrounded by trash, surrounded by Paladin, keeping Hart's cataphracts from getting too close. Liereyy here is waiting in the wings with some Paladin of his own, and he is going to help his teammates soon. Hashtag soon, but man, this castle is really taking some damage. Quick look around the horn. Looks like Yo is floating a good amount of resources. Hart, again, spending it as fast as he can get it. Lierey's got some resources to fight with. Paladin, very low on gold and has no stone whatsoever. But all in all, you know, this is really nice. All players able to stay pretty darn close to PopCap. Where are we? Yeah, we're here. Only Hart is really well below PopCap. He's about to lose this castle. Yo sending in some siege rams. Hart desperately trying to repair, but it's just no bueno, man. Hart's going to add in a whole bunch of trash, but it feels like it might be too late. Once this castle goes down, those bombard cannons and towers can continue to take over more territory. This castle is the last impediment. I don't know if we're going to see the GG right now, but it wouldn't be unjustified. It would not be unjustified. Camel raiding, running into the back of this eco would be really devastating. Somehow the castle still stands, at least for now. We have to check, I guess. How much does Hart have in the bank for stone? He's got 290 stone right now. His castle is actually gaining health all of a sudden. One of those bombard cannons did die. But man, still so much pressure on him here. So much pressure on the yellow player Hart. He's going to continue to try to keep this castle going. Couple paladins in from the blue player. Red player starting to send in camels to try to stop the castle from being repaired. Cataphracts, though, are going to turn around and kill these bombard cannons? Question mark? What in the world? That castle on the hill is going to stand. It's actually going to be repaired nearly to full strength. Hart adding in more cataphracts as we speak. Yo sending in more rams, but it's too late. And what in the actual heck is going on here? Oh my god. Do you see those axemen dancing backwards? Although 8,000 HP says bogus. Yeah, I know. Just an absolutely... that castle, man, I don't know how it stood, but more cataphracts coming as we speak. Yo continuing to take over territory with bombard towers, continuing to send forward bombard cannons. Still a really great unit composition here, but look at all of the dead units who fought to try to either take down or keep this castle up. Castle still stands for now. We'll see how long that lasts for. A couple halbs here roaming forward, trying to see if they can be cheeky and snipe these BBCs. But for the moment, both players on that side, or all four players on that side of the map, continuing to fight for that last bit of ground. I do think this castle is win or lose for Hart and Liereyy right now, and I really don't know how it's still alive. But it is. That castle stands. Lierey's got Paladin here. Hart's got Cataphracts. Yo's adding in more trash. Should be a cost-effective fight for Yo and his teammate Paladin, but they also want to win it. You know, it's cost-effective because they're under these bombard towers. They've got a lot of trash in the fray. But you still want to win this fight, right? I mean, you don't just want to win the money of the game. Yeah, they are going to win this fight. And Lierey's going to call GG. His teammate has really no stone left to repair this castle. They have no way to stop this push, and superior tactics, I think, in the Imperial Age for Paladin and Yo win the game. Man, oh man, Paladin and Yo just putting on an old school classic performance. 1 hour and 30 minutes deep. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I'm going to jump out since it's live. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for tuning in, guys.